This is my first full season gardening in the Hudson Valley, and I started completely from scratch. It is the end of June, and we're going to see how the garden looks like today. If you're new here, my name is Mari, and we are in the lower Hudson Valley, New York, zone 6B7A. We're a bit in between zones here. And we're going to start over here at the patio, where I have my vertical planters and this elevated garden bed here. I have a lot of wildlife problems here when I'm gardening, and these containers here help me gardening without having to fence everything up. I do have a fenced area where I started this video, and we're going to take a look there right next. And we're also going to the front yard and see how everything is doing over there too by the no-dig beds that I made by the pond. I have just done a revamp on these planters. This is where I had mostly my cool season crops, but everything here has been flipped to warm season vegetables, so that's why it's looking a little bare. I have just harvested lots of lettuce and radishes from this planter over here and sold some beans on these areas where you see these little mini greenhouse covers. This planter here, I had sold some beans a little bit earlier, and I already have some of them flowering. And this one is all full of peppers. We had a really cool and rainy spring, and the peppers are a little behind. Last year by this time in New York City, where I was gardening before I moved here, these planters were already all full and beautiful by this time. You could barely see the planters with all of the foliage. Granted, I am in a colder location right now, but also I think in general the weather has been a lot cooler than usual. They were taking kind of their time to grow, but we just had a heat wave too, and during the heat wave these guys really liked it. They are semi-protected here with a tree, so in the afternoon they got some shade so they didn't get fried or anything, even though they're in containers. I put a bean in here too a little time ago, and it's full of flowers. This is a bush bean variety called Celine beans, and I'm growing them everywhere. It's a lavender color bean pod, and I really liked growing them in the past. It's very nice and tasty, so I have some here, and there's some on this planter as well. It's the same flower, but these guys in here are not doing as good. They're looking like they're having some sort of spider mite damage, so I have to see what I'm going to do about this in this planter over here. There are a few other things too, like these pansies that I am letting it go to seed. It's not looking as good right now. They could definitely be replaced by some bush beans or basil, something that grows a little fast, so we can still have a harvest this summer. I did put some basil in here, and I cleaned up some pockets earlier, so I still have to get some of these things planted, but that's okay. We still have time to do that, to grow something quick. This elevated garden bed over here has been just flipped too. I had lots of cool season crops growing in it, and it was beautiful. Just a few weeks ago we harvested some beautiful cauliflower and kohlrabi and many other things from here, but now it's all replanted with warm season crops. I have some tomatoes here in the corner, some potatoes that are not doing very great, so I might harvest those sooner for new potatoes. I have some cucumbers growing in the back here, a squash that I poked the seed a few days ago and it was so hot it already germinated. This is a zucchini, just a green regular zucchini. There's some eggplant in here, some peppers, and those are my leftover seedlings that took a bit too long to be planted, so I'm not sure if they're going to do very well or not in here. But if they don't, I just pull them out and give more space to these other things to grow. This is another squash, is the same variety as that guy over there. And we have a cucumber here that's already flowering. I did not label them, so you guys are gonna have to come back next month to take a look when everything is fruiting, so I can tell you what the varieties all are. But I do know a few things in this bed, like this tomato over here. It's an indigo rose. It's a beautiful sort of a cocktail-sized tomato, and I'm planning to let it grow all the way up here in the trellis and kind of hang in there. This is a tomato as well, and this is a sun gold tomato that everyone loves. Those are potatoes, and I might have to take them out as well because they're just not doing great. They did not like the heat wave at all. And that's mostly it for this bed. We will take a look how this is going to be looking in July, so don't forget to subscribe if you want to see how much bigger all of these vegetables are going to be. And now we're going to take a walk to the fenced area. This garden was just finished by the end of May. I wanted to have got it done sooner, but it's doing a lot better than I thought it would be by this time, taking consideration that it was built quite late and I had lots of seedlings that needed to be transplanted but didn't have a home to go to. I'm going to start actually by something that's not looking very great, which is the back here, and are my onions. Those are a great example of something that needed to be transplanted earlier, but I couldn't do it because I did not have a space to put them. I transplanted them here once this garden was ready. They were the first things that I planted, but still they're not looking great. I don't think that we're going to have an onion crop here, so I went ahead and I planted some other things in this bed just a couple days ago to see if they will grow, but they're not looking very great because of the heat wave. They're just not taking the transplant so well, so it's okay. There's plenty of other things that are working in the garden. For example, this bed, it's doing so good. I'm so surprised and happy by how beautiful everyone in here is growing. I have a variety of warm weather vegetables in here, all growing together in this 4x8 raised bed. This is a metal raised bed from Vego that looks like wood, but it's made of aluminum, which is good, so it's resistant and we can move it if we need. Since we are renting, you can just take it apart and take it with us. But here we have a summer squash that's doing amazing. I'm slightly scared that this is too good to be true because I never really had good luck with squash before. The other location I used to garden at, we had a big problem with vine borers and powdery mildew. So seeing this squash as nice and lush as it is, it's making my heart really happy. And I hope that we can get a good crop from them for the first time ever. Even though I'm here, this garden is only 1 year old. I've been gardening since 2020, so this is my 5th season. But when you garden a new location, you have to kind of learn everything again, which is good and bad. But here you can see that this squash is already setting some flower buds, which is wonderful. So soon enough, hopefully we have some squash to harvest from this. Here on this side, I have a line of basil and herbs right here in the front, and they're doing great. And in the back I have a line of peppers. Those are all doing great too. They have just started flowering, which is wonderful. I haven't labeled all of them also, but once they start setting the fruit, I'll be able to tell what they are. And behind them I have some eggplant that also have started flowering. This one had a flower. I hope it got pollinated and that is a fruit forming down here and there. Those two are Italian eggplants. And back here we have our tomatoes, which are looking really good. I'm really happy. I have just done this trellising system over here a couple weeks ago, and they're doing very well and grown a lot since I started weaving them in there. There's lots of flowers too, and we even have already a few tomatoes. Look at that. I interplanted some calendula in here for color, and some basil over there too, just to help with pest control and just make this garden a bit more diverse. And everything is doing good. The strong smell of the basil and the calendula, I think calendula smells strong too and sticky. Oh, look at this tiny little bee coming there. Look at that. So the strong smell can get some of the pests away, but also the beautiful color of this flower attracts some pollinators or hoverflies. I'm not sure if this is a hoverfly or not, but that's really cool. So hopefully they'll come in from here to start pollinating my tomatoes. I've been coming here and sort of giving them a little tug like this to try to hand pollinate, since I haven't seen as many bees as I wish in this garden yet, especially because it's its first year. There's not as many pollinators here as I expected, as I wished at least. I have some oregano here on this side, a few herbs. There's a few flowers here on the edge. This one is blooming. This is called stock, and I love this flower. It's mostly grown for cutting, for people to put in bouquets, but it's also edible and smells like clove and is amazing. You can use it for desserts or in salads. It's really, really nice. But I'm going to leave it in here for the pollinators. I am not going to harvest this one. Here on this side I have my green stalks, more of them, and there's another one back there. Those are my favorite vertical planters, and I should mention that they're having a sale right now if you're interested in looking them up. And everything on their website is now on sale, so you can get one at a discounted price. And I'm an affiliate with them, so you can also use my discount code Mari's Garden to get a little extra discount if you spend $75 or more. So let's take a look on how these garden guys are doing over here. They also had cool season crops, and I have just cut a lot of them. These are broccoli over here because it got really hot and they are not happy with the heat wave, and the cabbage moths just used that opportunity while they're stressed to attack them. So I gotta cut this one a little more. But now I have lots of space that I can plant some new things. I have some peppers in here too that are growing, some strawberries that I'm very excited for. I've noticed that they're sending there's runners. So this one already has a root, see? And I am kind of happy to have empty pockets so I can just try to let them grow there and have tons of strawberries next year. Those strawberries are really good. I don't have a tag for them. When I bought them at the farmer's market, I bought as one plant, and last year it spread to a few other pockets, and now this year is doing the same thing, so I have plenty now. It said that it was just a everberry and strawberry, but didn't have the variety, so I'm not sure which one it was, but it did produce lots of good strawberries this June. In fact, I think on my last garden tour, I just tried it one on camera. It was really nice. But now they're slowing down and just producing runners. I'm gonna let it be because I'd love to have this whole planter with strawberries eventually. Let me just turn this real quick. So I still gotta come over here and plant some more, fill up these pockets. I always like to do a few succession plantings, and I always keep these pockets full through the growing season. I have a few herbs here in the bottom because I had a groundhog problem outside, but now these guys are inside here and protected. And this planter here, we just did a harvest in the last video, and it's not doing so great because some of this also cool season crops were not very happy with the heat wave and got stressed out. So but I should come here and water them later. And we have some empty pockets on these too because I took out some lettuces and things, so we're also going to have to come around and replant that. And in the front here I just have a few pots with flowers because I would love to attract some more pollinators. And this pot is a mishmash of things because there's mostly things that volunteered from my garden last year. I bought this with me from a previous garden. And I have a larkspur in here that volunteered. There is, what else? Is a tomato that volunteered. I'm letting it grow. This is a rose cutting that I put in here. I got it from my friend Chris. It just took a year to kind of root and take off. So I'm very excited to see which rose is this because I kind of got it mixed up and I'm not sure the variety, but I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. I have Rebecca here that volunteered from last year. And these marigolds I planted because this planter was outside too. It was before I had this fenced area and the groundhogs were just eating everything that was in there. This bed here had a bit of a animal problem. You can see here there's some paws of the capri. I think it's a raccoon, I'm not sure, but something probably climbed the fence and got into the garden and made a mess in this area over here. You can see especially there that there's mulch on top of this. Once I filled this raised beds this year, I filled half of it with wood chips and the rest with raised bed soil and compost. And this guy over here, this animal came here and dug this whole area up. It was all messed up here. I come over and, evened out the soil again, but the wood chips and the compost and the raised bed soil is all mixed now. So I'm not sure how well anything would grow here in this area. I did bury a couple tubers here on the last video too, and to see what happens, but I'm not very hopeful for that section. But this area over here is not too bad. There was a plant here, but now it's just a lot of the compost and it's fine. I put a seed of a winter squash here. This is going to be a kabocha squash, and it germinated and it's doing fine. It was after I'm assuming raccoon sort of made a little feast here. And it sprouted, it's doing good, and I'm planning to let it grow kind of like here and fall off this raised bed to grow along the back over here. Right here in this section, I have some beans that had a bit of a hard time to First, because we had so much water, so much rain, they all kind of yellowed. It was hard for them to get nutrients. I guess this bed, I think, got over soaked. Our garden is in a bit of a slope, so this is slightly slanted this way, so I think there's a lot of water that stays here. I don't know, but these guys were struggling, but they seem to be recovering right now, which I'm happy to see. This is a dragon tongue bean, those three over here, and this is the same which you saw in the green stalk, the Celine beans, and they're all flowering, so I'm very excited to start harvesting from this. I have a kale here that was attacked by some cabbage moths too, and I was trying to just pick them out because I don't want to lose this plant. It's still looking healthy, even though kale is considered a cool weather crop. But I have successfully grown kale during the summer and harvested through the whole season, and I really want to keep this plant here because we love eating kale. This area here is kind of like a not so much of a success either. I sowed some carrot seeds in here, but they are not doing much. They sprouted, started to grow a little bit, but then they stopped. So kind of lost a bit of faith in them or hope. And I also planted some dahlia tubers in here, and we'll see if they will sprout. Over here we have some leeks. They are planted late too, so let's see what's going to happen there. I have a cucumber that's doing well in this nice self-watering planter too that comes with this trellis. I just put this trellis up yesterday, and hopefully they will climb and get really big in there. Let's move to this side. This area here is also new. I added some compost or some food scraps, sorry, not composted yet. Some food scraps, some wood chips, and then lots of these grass clippings to see if I can make a bed here to plant something in the fall. Here I have some dahlias that were planted in a mound of potting soil, and I added the grass clippings here too to act as mulch. This is a test that I'm doing. I have never used green fresh grass clippings to mulch anything before, but I've seen a couple people online do it and say that they have success with it, so I decided to test it in one area, see how it goes, and then if it's good, I want to add it to my raised beds because they have already sunk quite a lot since I put soil here in the beginning of the season. See all that white on the side? And that one especially. So if I could add some mulch to help the plants, protect the soil, cool the soil a little bit, conserve some water, that would be great. So hopefully this will do well here, and if it does, we have plenty of grass, so we can just do the same thing with these other three raised beds. And maybe with this bed here in the back too. But here I did a bit of a different experiment. You see all the seedlings in here? Those are all buckwheat seedlings. I put a very thin layer of compost on top of wood chips in here. This was a very slanted area of the garden, so we had to use a tiller back there and put some soil back to do a little bit of terrace. But I also added lots of wood chips to try to level things up, and there's only a thin layer of compost in this area over here. And I decided to grow some buckwheat just to see if anything would grow in this area, because it's about like literally 1 inch of compost. And they're kind of yellowing, not doing as great, but we'll see what they'll do. And if they do grow and start flowering, I'm going to cut them all down and drop it to be used as a cover crop and incorporate that into the soil as well, to try to build a bit more soil here that I can use in the next growing season. This area here, I did put some more compost and soil than this area, so I was more comfortable to plant some other things. I have a couple artichokes in here. This is a green globe artichoke, and you can see here that cover crop, this is the buckwheat that I sowed in the same time, is doing a lot better in this area because actually there's some real soil underneath this compost over here in between the mulch. And here they're yellowing and not looking as good. Some of them are growing, but in general they're kind of struggling a bit because probably there's a lot of tied up nitrogen in here and not enough compost, but I just want to see what they're going to do. On this other side, I have a few, my asparagus I planted in here. There's a sweet potato that I put in here because I ran out of space, a couple perennials. So we'll see what's going to happen. Not a lot of expectations for this in-ground area this year too, since it's so brand new. Now we're going to take a look at this area over here, which is our Three Sister Garden experiment. I have some corn growing here. This is some sweet corn. There's only 6 here, So I know it's not great for pollination, but I just wanted to do a test and see if I could grow them in here. I did put extra compost in this area, so they're growing a little better than this square over here that I ran out of it. And there's a squash that is growing this nice soil, but sprawling to this area over here. And I'll see if their soil is going to be good for them or not, or just having some good soil in here is going to be enough. But I have a same variety of squash over here on this side. They're both button squashes. And this is kind of one growing that way and it's trying to come this way. It might go up this fence. We'll see what's going to happen there. And the beans that I have just replanted in the last video also have not come up yet, so I'm not sure what's going on. We'll see. Hopefully in the next update I'll be able to tell you guys if these beans are going to sprout or not. Here on this area I have tomatillos that we planted in the last video too. I moved them here to be closer to this side. I have some shallots that are almost ready to harvest. I planted this last fall in this container. I did not have any of this last fall here. It was all grass and bare. And I have a little extra tomato that I put in here too, last minute, so they're not as healthy as the other ones. It's a cherry tomato, so we'll see how we'll do in there. And here's my brand new yellow planter that I also tried to do kind of a Three Sister Garden situation because it's so sunny and cheery and makes me think of summer, this color. So I have some corn, some beans, and some squash growing here, but those are all container friendly dwarf varieties. This is a summer squash, which is smaller. I have a blue dwarf sweet corn, and I have some beans. I can't remember if I put the purple beans, the same ones that I did there, or if I did yellow for this. Either way, once it starts flowering, we'll be able to know. And I also added some sunflowers in here for fun. So those are some dwarf double teddy bear sunflowers. And now we're going to go out of this area. We still have so much to see. And I'm going to talk about a bit these containers that I have right here in the front. Because of my lack of pollinator problem in this brand new garden, I went to the garden center and I looked for the plants that had the most amount of bees on it. And it was this beautiful Monarda over here. Unfortunately, in my garden, it doesn't have a lot of bees. But when we were at the garden centers, this was full of bees. It was beautiful to see, and I decided to get it. But hopefully soon enough, she'll start attracting some bees for our side as well. It's definitely not nearly as many as we saw it over there as I used to have in our New York City garden, believe it or not. But I did see a few hummingbirds already coming here and enjoying it, so that's a good thing. On this side, I have just a few random things that I'll talk about later. Here on this side, this is brand new. I have just removed the tarp that was here for a long time. So if you watched the last garden tour, the videos, you saw there was a black tarp here. And after the heat wave, it definitely killed the grass really good. So I removed it and I broadcasted lots of flower seeds in here and watered well. So hopefully we have some sort of wildflower meadow situation here. I do know the groundhogs might come and eat them. I had to protect these guys over here. But hopefully they'll just do some thinning because I sowed this kind of thick. And they will still have some things to grow and give some nice color to this area. I plan to put cardboard and mulch all over here on this pad to connect with this pad over here and the back area that I've just finished right now too. I did add a little fence here because the groundhogs were eating the marigold and started eating the straw flowers. They don't bother the foxglove, that's toxic, but I wanted to have some marigold and some straw flowers blooming too, so I decided to just close this whole area over here, the whole side of the garden, plus our tomato alley over here in the back where we have tons of tomatoes growing. This was originally intended to be our sacrificial garden for the groundhogs, but they didn't seem to bother the tomatoes very much. But a deer got in here and ate some of it. So since we had this, I wanted to see how big it would be if we had just wrapped it around, and it was enough to just wrap to that area over there. So it was perfect. And the gate is on the other side. So I was just here earlier staking and supporting all of these tomatoes. For this one over here, I didn't put a string like I did on my inside garden. I'm just doing the little pole with some jute because that's what I had, and I wanted to do two different methods to show you guys. So we'll see how this area is going to look. Looking okay so far. This is how the whole thing looks through the back. So you can see going up the stairs here, you can see how on the slant this is. And I put lots of wood chips here to level, so we're gonna have to revisit the leveling of it by the end of the year too. And we're planning to just adjust these raised beds with rocks and stuff if we need to in the fall. But here, it's how it looks. Our fenced area is doing well so far. And now we can move to the front yard. We are taking a different route this time, and we're going to move to the side of the house that I don't show you guys very much. This area here, I plan to do a bit of a dining area that we can eat in the summer. Is a mess right now, but this is the reality of the garden. But we have this nice maple tree here that shades it, so it will be a very comfortable space to be for some summer gatherings. And I'll plan to organize that in the next week or so. This area over here was already all planted when we moved in. I haven't really done any work on this side yet. All of these hostas and these little pink flowers were here. The hostas on this side are doing good. They did okay with the heat wave. I haven't even watered them or anything, but some of them are not doing great because they have a little sun. The sun is just coming out right now too on that area and here, and they kind of fried. So eventually I'd like to move them somewhere where it's a little shadier, maybe put them in the front of the house where we don't have a lot of sun. But I'm not moving these big plants right now, and this is gonna have to wait maybe into the fall or something like this. Haven't had any chance to do any work here yet. Same with this front area here. And the front yard, which I had so many plans for in the beginning of the season. I haven't got nearly as much done as I wished here by this time. I wanted to have done a lot more work by the pond over there and have planted a lot of beautiful colorful flowers. I wanted to have more things planted on this side here too by our driveway, but now that I took out the black plastic in the back, I have just added here to try to make another bed and plant some of the things that I haven't yet and are still hanging in my backyard. We got another huge pile of mulch here because I need to change the layout of the no-dig beds that we did in the front, but I'll show you guys once we get there. I really wanted to have planted more flowers by this area of the pond specifically because it's right in front of the house, and I just am having a hard time preparing the soil of this area with all of this grass. It is very hard to start a new garden, with having to remove the sod and all of that. So I also used the rest of the tarps that were on the side of the vegetable garden to add to a couple of spaces here. I want to make a little flower bed a bit closer to this little seat here that would look nice. It stays mostly shaded on this area, so I wanted to put right here when there's a little bit of sun, right here, and we'll see how we're gonna plant there. Just want to make the spaces before I start planting. And I think that was a mistake that I made earlier too. I started a bunch of seeds thinking that I would just be able to plant everything, and then I had nowhere to put them. These little beds that I made in the fall, none of them are doing good with the no-dig method. I think I didn't add enough compost, and also they're just exposed in here without any fence or anything. We do have a fence surrounding the property, but the animals still manage to get in. And the groundhogs, they just dig under the ground, so they have been coming and eating everything that I've been planting. This was a dahlia over here. That's a dahlia right there as well. And there's one here that looks nice if you see, but it was already eaten on these little two sides here. And this is new shoots descending after got nibbled by the groundhogs. Try to plant lots of dahlias on those no-dig beds as well, right here in the front. On the last tour, we had some anemones and ranunculus on those two beds, and the things in here are just not doing great. I keep changing what's going here, but I tried to plant some of the native flowers here, and the groundhogs just ate most of it. You can see if I can find some yarrow or reminiscent of a yarrow over here. They're eating all of the rudbeckia, all of the echinacea, all of the New England aster that I put here. It's a little sad. This was a dahlia too that I wanted to put here, and it ate the top, and then sending some new growth on the side. It's trying, the dahlias keep trying to grow. This whole bed over here on this side I planted with dahlias, and there's one there that, let's get closer, I can show you. It is really trying to grow, and it got a little big, but it's getting eaten on the side by the leaves, but the top is still okay. Most of them are just getting pinched, getting eaten on the top over here, and then they're just trying to send more new growth. So who knows, maybe they will eventually stop eating them and some of these dahlias will make it. These beds are also full of weeds. That was a bit of a difficult thing with this no dig beds too. I didn't put enough compost, and a lot of grass started growing right through it, so that was also a bit disappointing. So I'm gonna revisit this whole area here for the fall, or even next year. I'm not sure how much time I have anymore to try to do something here, but I really was picturing this by the summer, to have these 4 beds here full of zinnias and cosmos and snapdragons and flowers all floating over, and attracting lots of pollinators and bees and butterflies. But that just didn't happen, which is a little sad, but it's okay. We will keep working on it. I want to do a cover crop, I think, on them, just to try to build up the soil a little bit. And I don't have any more compost to top this off. I need to weed it first and come here and hand weed everything. I want to put mulch in the pathways, because the pathways are really difficult to manage, having to mow in here. So there's just a lot. And I didn't water them during the heat wave here. They have to just fend with the rain, but some of them are not looking very good. The snapdragons here are growing. Most of them fell back here because of the rain. Those were the first ones to bloom. The color is beautiful, but they're all blooming close to the ground because they're just knocked out by the rain. And I think I'm just going to leave them there to collect seed from it now, since I can't, really cut it to put inside or make it nice for the landscape here. At least I can get more seeds, since I know now that the groundhogs won't eat them. Just need to support them better next year. This other batch of snapdragons here doing a bit better, looking a little droopy because of the sun. But this is the Chantilly series, and has this more open face without that little chin or lip, I guess. And those are very pretty, and they're doing fine, and they stayed nice and straight. So maybe we'll plant more of that next year too. The statice also has not been eaten by the groundhog, something that has resisted to, but is all falling. So I'll need to support this somehow if I want to try to keep growing them. Back here, I planted sweet peas and straw flowers, and they ate the sweet peas even though they're toxic. Apparently, not to them. This is a Nimbus sweet pea, and this is how it looks. They just keep eating all the leaves when it keeps putting out. So the plant's really struggling. It's probably going to die. I did plant some statice here in between. We'll see what's going to happen. And just a total mess here. I have to really revisit the whole plan for this area. It's a little sad. Hopefully we'll still be able to get some blooms here eventually. And the side of the pond especially, I really wanted to have more things growing here because it looks very green. There's not a lot of color, and I thought it would look so nice if we had flowers flowing around everywhere, but not this year, not so far yet, at least. So let me give you a bit of overview of this front area too from another angle. But this is going to be it for the garden tour today. I unfortunately don't have much to show here because our plans didn't work out, but we'll try to do some more work here through this season still, and I'll bring you guys along. If you want to see how this garden was looking last month, I'm going to pop a video right on the screen so you can watch that next. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you next time.